Well, hello and welcome to this week's video. My name's Simon Gray and I'm the founding director of Career Codex. I had a couple of questions this week. A question from Jillian that came through to me via email, and also I asked myself a question based on the video that I put out there a few weeks ago on LinkedIn and how to position yourself successfully on LinkedIn to stand out. So Jillian had said, when you go to an event, when you go to a networking event, when you meet new people, when you're trying to communicate a message, how do you get your message heard? How do you stand out? And thinking about the LinkedIn webinar, one of the things that people look at first, of course, is your professional headline, and your professional headline's got to be good. So how do you make yourself stand out on LinkedIn? So it got me thinking. So I thought I'd do a video this week just to answer those questions. And I'm going to make a bold statement. And the bold statement is that whether you're watching this and looking for a job, or whether you're watching this and are in business looking to promote your business, you'll get value from it and you'll have some ideas to go forward and take with you at the end of this video. So please keep watching. So let's think about how the world works now. Okay, everyone's on a mobile phone, everyone's got social media. I was in the coffee shop this morning. People are there on their iPads, they're on their mobile phones. Nobody's got any attention anymore. They're being bombarded by messages constantly. We've got the TV, the radio, social media channels. What we've become very good at as human beings is filtering stuff out. So keeping information from entering our heads because there's far too much of it. And as a self-protection mechanism, we have to filter and we have to make instantaneous judgments on what people say to us, often based on what's happened to us in the past, previous experiences, that are really hidden in our subconscious that may not be totally relevant for the situation at hand. Because we're all a product of our experiences. Often we make a split decision, a split judgment on what somebody says or how somebody presents themselves that may not be an accurate reflection as to what the offer is or what the message that person is trying to deliver is really all about. We make assumptions and we either switch on or we switch off. So what I'm going to show you how to do today is to make sure that people switch on when you talk to them and when you approach to them, or at least give yourself a higher probability of doing that. So when people ask me, how do I describe what I do? Sometimes I describe myself as a career coach, or people would normally describe me as a career coach, an executive career coach. Now, I don't particularly like that terminology because it's the similar job title that everyone else is using. It doesn't really help me to stand out. In actual fact, it's not really exactly what I do. And if I go out there and position my business as being a career coach, then people will make a judgment based on their past experience of coaching, whether they buy into coaching or are suspicious of coaching, or whether this is something brand new to them. And it's not particularly helpful in conveying my message. Similarly, I used to recruit into the finance space, so I'd meet a lot of finance directors. If you say you're a finance director, well, yeah, you're a finance director, but it doesn't really tell anybody anything different about you, and people will make a judgment based on your job title. But you are not your job title. That's just a badge that's been given to you in an organisation for that organisational structure. It doesn't define what you are, what value you can add. So we're going to talk a bit more about how you can position things a little bit differently to make sure that you do stand out. So there are really three things that you can do to position yourself in any conversation, in any dialogue, in any communication to make yourself stand out and to get that conversation to continue, because that's what we're really after. And the first thing that, and by the way, I call this the Tell Me More test. So when anyone hears your opening gambit, what you're really looking for them to do is to say, well, tell me more. That's interesting. I'm curious. Other people call it an elevator pitch. I like to call it the Tell Me More test. So we'll see how we get on with the Tell Me More test today. So the first thing that you need to do is to grab attention. I'm going to write this up here. I've got the whiteboard today and the trusted iPad. Was due to get my new iPad this week, the iPad Pro, but there was a problem with that. And there's a lesson in everything. If you go to my LinkedIn page, my personal page, you'll see a published post I did on there about how I fell out of love with Apple. So there you go. If you want to read that later, you can. So what do I mean by attention? Well, you've got to grab attention and interest, because if you grab attention and interest, people will give you more airtime. So they may give you 2 or 3 seconds to describe what your job is, But if you get their attention and grab their interest by saying something different, then they're probably going to give you a bit more time to get your message across. And this afternoon, I've been working on my weekly newsletter, my weekly email out to my subscribers. And one of the things I spend about 50% of the time on is coming up with a subject line. So it's not just about the content, it's what the subject line is. Because if that grabs attention and interest, then I know people will click through and read on. So this is really what we're thinking about in terms of your opening gambit. The next thing is it needs to be easily, and apologies for the writing, it needs to be easily understood. Now, why does it need to be easily understood? Because we've got short attention spans. If something's too complicated, we switch off and go to the next thing. So it's got to be easily understood. And there is a danger nowadays that people like to overcomplicate stuff because it sounds maybe more sophisticated, more valuable. But in actual fact, keeping things simple allows your message to travel and be memorable, which is what I'll come on to next. And Leonardo da Vinci, who one of the famous inventors, artists, I mean, this guy was years ahead of his time. He had a famous phrase which sits in my office at home. I'm in my work office today, but my office at home on the wall as a reminder. And he said that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, and I absolutely believe he was right. So having your messages simple and easily understood is very important. It shouldn't be an academic pursuit for somebody to understand what you do and what you could potentially do for them. They should get it instantly. And the final thing is that your message should be memorable and mobile. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you can package something up into something that's easily portable, then people will take it with them and they'll remember it and they'll tell other people. That's one of the powerful things about stories and why businesses use stories all the time to communicate their message, because we're all used to hearing stories and we're all good at telling stories. So if somebody tells us a powerful story, we can then pass that on to other people. It makes it mobile. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about here with regard to that is that to make something memorable, what you have to do is to make it very portable, and you have to make it particular to you. So if you overcomplicate it, if they can't understand it, if you don't package it in the right way, people will forget it. And you can't assume that somebody right now, the person you're talking to right now, will have a need for your skills and experience if you're looking for a job or for your services in business. So you have to make it memorable because you want that person that you meet to remember you 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months down the line and think, do you know what? I remember that person. They were good. I'm going to contact them. And you can't just rely on a business card, by the way. People have got to remember what it is you said to them to make it worthwhile them getting back in touch. And I use a rule of three. The rule of three is very powerful. You'll notice there's three things on the whiteboard behind me. There's a reason for that, because I want you to remember what I'm saying today. And I'm going to give you a real life example of how I've messed around with my proposition to see what you think, and that has a rule of three, because it's very easy to remember things in threes. In actual fact, when you go out into the world and you look at how people position stuff, often they use three things to communicate a message. Makes it memorable and makes it mobile. So self-awareness is very important. And I have a LinkedIn profile at the moment. I have a professional headline. Is it good? Well, it's okay. I'll let you be the judge of that. But I'm self-aware enough to know that it could be better. And you have to start by asking yourself some questions. Is what I say on my LinkedIn profile in the professional headline good enough? Is it attention grabbing, easily understood, and is it memorable? And if not, how can I make it better? Or when I go to a networking event, am I grabbing people's attention by what I say? Am I saying what everyone else is saying? Is what I'm saying understood? And is it memorable and therefore mobile? And really being self-aware starts with asking questions and then taking feedback. And if you get the same feedback consistently, then that's a clue that maybe there's an improvement to be made and a change to be made. And I'm always open to feedback. So if you have any feedback on my videos, my content, let me know, whether it's good, bad, or whatever. I'd rather know, because if you ask for feedback, I'm a big believer that you have to take that feedback and take that feedback as a positive thing, even when it's negative feedback. So yeah, maybe I'll do a video on feedback moving down the track, because of course that's very relevant for interviews, and sometimes people don't like to ask for it. So my message currently, and I'm going to read this on my professional headline on LinkedIn, says, thinking differently to help people find the right career. Now, being self-aware, thinking about that, is that what other people are saying? Probably. Does it really stand out? Probably not. Does it make my profile sticky? Does it invite people to read on? Does it spark their curiosity? Well, again, maybe not, but again, I'll let you be the judge of that. So if you have a comment, let me know in the comments page below on this video. So how could I improve that? And how could you potentially improve this once you've come up with your attention-grabbing, easily understood and memorable intro? Well, I thought about, well, what about my personality? What about my interests? How could I be original? And I've spent probably the last 25 years of my life studying the martial arts. Been all over the world, Thailand, Japan, all over the place, and studied various different disciplines. Even spent 2 years in Japan on a crazy course with the Tokyo Riot Police in Aikido. But my principal martial art was Thai boxing, and very similar to boxing, but you use your feet as well. And I used to compete. So I used to compete in the ring, full contact, back when I was a little bit younger, thankfully not too many scars. And I thought, well, how could I inject some of my personality and originality into my positioning? And I tried this with a prospective client last week, and it got a good response. The guy smiled, he seemed to get it instantly, and because it was personal to my message, then hopefully that would be memorable. So I said this. I said, well, I'm an executive trainer, I'm an executive coach, and I'm an executive cornerman. Now people think, what? What's that all about? Well, I'll explain. So I'm a trainer because I give people knowledge and skills to be able to define, find, and then secure the executive job they want, not just the job they see advertised. I'm a coach because, as I always preach, the most challenging thing in the executive job market is psychology. Most challenging thing at any level in the job market is psychology, because you all take knocks. That's just the name of the game, because it's about probability, not certainty. So as a coach, what I'm there to do is to help you get confident and to motivate you to take the action that will deliver the results. So I'm a trainer, I'm a coach, but then I'm also a cornerman, because I'm in the trenches with you. And as things happen, specific to your situation, well, I'm an expert advisor, a confidant and supporter to encourage you to keep going. So my new positioning could be that using originality and my hobbies and interests, personality, that I'm a trainer, coach and cornerman. So I'm a job search trainer, job search coach, job search cornerman, executive coach, trainer, cornerman. Need some work, but everything in life is moving, it's a journey. But yeah, I'd be interested to know what you think. Would that resonate with you? Would you get it? Does it pass the attention test? Does it pass the easily understood test? And does it pass the memorable test? So if you have an opinion, and life is about opinion, then please leave me a comment in the box below on the video. If you're watching this through my weekly newsletter, then please hit reply to send me an email. But I'd love to hear your response. And if you're working on your own profile, then share what you've come up with, what you started with, which may have been your job title, to what you've come up with that's original. That's based on your personality. And if you feel slightly uncomfortable about it, that's probably a good sign. When I came up with the trainer, coach and cornerman, I felt a little bit uncomfortable about it, but that was a clue that actually it's something I should try and see what the reaction is. So watch this space, and my LinkedIn profile may change to that fairly soon based on the feedback, and it may change to something else, because life is a journey, we learn as we go. And we never have all of the answers ever, because we're constantly learning, or should be constantly learning in life. So thanks for spending the time on the video today. If you've got a comment, please leave it below. If you're watching this on the newsletter, please hit reply to send me an email if you've got a comment. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're not subscribed to my weekly educational content on job search, business and all other stuff, then if you go to Career Codex, which is codex.com, there's a number of different options to sign up there. So that's it for today. Have a great rest of week. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.